Greetings and welcome. Today we will be discussing Ocean Discovery Institute's data privacy policies. It is essential that all organizational data be protected. There are, however, gradations that require different levels of security. Throughout your time as a staff member, we expect that you will classify data and handle it according to its use, sensitivity, and importance. We will begin by building your understanding of the need for data privacy. We will then review Ocean Discovery Institute's data privacy policies, and throughout we will discuss actions and behaviors that you must adopt to ensure optimal privacy and compliance. If you have any questions or reflections on this presentation, please note them down to discuss with your supervisor at a later time. We are the stewards of the information given to us by our students and their families, donors, volunteers, and the organizational data that we create. There is an expectation that this data will be used by Ocean Discovery Institute responsibly in accordance with law, and it will not be given to other entities. Two federal mandates govern our management of people-related data: HIPAA and FERPA. HIPAA is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996. It is a federal law that regulates data privacy, safety, and security for our personal medical information. HIPAA aims to limit the disclosure of our personal health information. It seeks to protect the privacy of the patients by requiring doctors to give their patients an account of entities to which the doctor discloses personal health information for both billing as well as administrative reasons. This law guarantees that patients have and maintain the right to receive their own personal health information upon request from healthcare providers. All personal health information data that are held or transmitted by a company is protected by HIPAA. These data include the individual's past, present, and future or mental health conditions, the provision of and/or payment for health care to an individual, data that identifies the individual or for which the reasonable basis to believe it can be used to identify the individual. Many common identifiers such as name, address, date of birth, and Social Security number are also protected by HIPAA. For some programs at Ocean Discovery Institute and for staff, we may collect personal health information. That is the reason we introduce HIPAA to you. When we travel internationally with students or in the office environment, it's helpful to know allergies and/or medical conditions requiring treatment. The next law that mandates what we do with our data is FERPA. What is FERPA? Well, it's not a Furby. FERPA is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act of 1974. It is a federal law that protects the privacy of student education records and mandates what can and cannot be done with the student education records. Student education records are broadly defined as records directly related to a student, records maintained by the educational agency or institution, or by a part acting for the agency or institution. FERPA applies to all schools as well as other educational agencies and institutions that are receiving funds from the U.S. Department of Education. Our partnership with the San Diego Unified School District requires that we abide by FERPA. FERPA details what consent is required to be able to share and/or access student education records. As per FERPA, parents have the right to access their children's student records without consent from the student as long as the student is less than 18 years of age. When a student reaches 18 years of age, all rights of access to the student's record transfers from the parent to the student. Parents must be granted a written consent by the student to be able to access the student's personal education records. Schools may disclose records without parental or student consent to external parties for the purpose of audit, evaluation, financial aid, school accreditation, research, or complying with a subpoena. Students are able to disclose without consent information such as directory information, which is under the name, address, date of birth, telephone number, place of birth, awards and honors, and dates of attendance. All Ocean Discovery Staff Institute must remember these FERPA guidelines when speaking with parents about their student. Today we have reviewed that our management of people-related data must comply with two federal legal mandates, HIPAA and FERPA. Additionally, a data sharing agreement with San Diego Unified School District requires us to protect student data. We also have the Ocean Discovery Institute Policy Guide guiding practices. A partnership with the San Diego Unified School District allows Ocean Discovery Institute to access student records that include grades, attendance, and emergency contacts, among other data. We use this data to evaluate the longitudinal impact of our programs, but we are to maintain the confidentiality of these student records and abide by HIPAA. I'll give you a moment to read the excerpt from our agreement with the school district. At this time, we hope that you have understood the need to maintain data privacy, the laws HIPAA and FERPA, our agreement with the San Diego Unified School District, and our own ocean discovery policies. Following, we will leave the policies and review actions and behaviors that we expect you to adopt to ensure optimal security. In discovery staff, you must recognize and protect data based on three classification levels: confidential, sensitive, and public. Confidential data is maintained in software as a service systems. The software as service systems are the databases you will use while employed. All confidential data is handled only by authorized users and only for the purposes that are required by the job. For example, if you are a student initiative staff, you may be granted access to Data Propeller system containing student records. If you are a developmental staff, you may be granted access to the Razor's Edge containing donor records. Other student enrollment. Any time that confidential data lies outside of the software as a service system, you must take protective controls. These controls can include such as encryption, password, protection, physical safeguarding, or secure disposal. Protecting data is easy as 1, 2, 3. You must learn to 1. Recognize the data classification. 2. House confidential data in software as service system like Data Propeller or Razor's Edge. 3. Protect it if it ever lies outside of these databases. Confidential data are information assets for which there are legal requirements for preventing disclosure or financial penalties for disclosure. Confidential data includes personally identifying information such as full name or first initial and last name and staff ID in combination, school-issued student identification number, grades, other student enrollment information such as course registration drop, mother's middle and maiden names, social security number full or truncated, driver's license and other government identification numbers, citizenship, legal status, gender, race, ethnicity, dates of birth when combined with name, address, and/or phone numbers, home and personal cell numbers, personal email address, mailing and home address, spouse information, marital status, child information, emergency contact information. Financial information such as credit card and bank numbers, medical information, disability information, and biometrics, employment information including personnel and payroll records, law enforcement information such as live scan details, security clearance, or medical records. At Ocean Discovery Institute, if confidential data is handled by a volunteer, the individual must be of long-term status and have successfully cleared a live scan review. Confidential data we commonly handle at Ocean Discovery includes credit card, bank account numbers, grades, and GPA, medical records for students or staff, driver's license, passports, criminal background checks, and emergency contact information. We generate a lot of lists and donor profiles that include personally identifying information such as full name, cell numbers, personal emails, or attendance. These lists include student roster lists, event registration lists, or donor profiles. We collect confidential data as needed, but we maintain it in a software as a service secure system, or our secure network. If we must write down or print this confidential data, we keep a physical safeguard, such as maintaining it in our locked cabinet, on our person, or when we are finished with the data, we discard it safely and securely by shredding it. We do not send confidential data via email without a password protection. We do not electronically save copies outside of our network. We do not share with external parties or leave unlocked in mailboxes. When we have an event or we're in the community, we do not leave lists laying around. We never toss away confidential materials without shredding them. Sensitive data is data that would not expose the Ocean Discovery to a loss if disclosed, as it is not protected by law, but the data handler feels should be maintained safe and to prevent unauthorized disclosure. We expect that staff will take reasonable protective controls to safeguard the data. Reasonable protective controls include saving in Ocean Discovery's secure network called master files or POPI, and not on other devices or laptop. We set document passwords if emailed, and we physically safeguard any printed materials. Physical safeguarding is keeping the printed document on your person or in a locked cabinet or office. We must always securely dispose of sensitive data by shredding or wiping devices. Sensitive data we commonly handle at Ocean Discovery includes lists with only names or other information that may be found in the phone book or directory. Such lists, for example, include foundations, corporations, or just first and last name lists that have no other personal or contact information. We commonly hear and repeat our student success stories, and those are considered sensitive. We also take photos and collect demographic information such as gender, race, ethnicity. We maintain general class schedules that show location, teacher, and time. When these classes are not open to the public, we consider them sensitive data. Sensitive data such as this we collect as needed. We still maintain it in the databases or secure network. With sensitive data, in addition, we obtain permission to disseminate via a formal written consent or verbal agreement, depending on the use of the data. When we use photos on materials, we blur out name tags if first names and last names are visible. Any sensitive material that is printed, we may recycle. Public data is information with no legal restriction on access or usage. Know that while information like court records, marriage records, or voting records are publicly available, we do not disseminate as they don't pertain to our mission. Sometimes people post opinions or information on online forums like Facebook without realizing the mass reach. Please remember that no information on a confidential, sensitive, or commercially valuable nature belonging to the Ocean Discovery should ever be posted on social networking sites. Public data we commonly handle at Ocean Discovery includes summarized assessments or evaluations on the effectiveness of our programs or target population. We mass distribute our annual report and make available audited financial statements. For recognition purposes and as authorized, we will print or promote the names of our supporting foundations, corporations, or individual donors. These types of data Ocean Discovery may openly and freely circulate. We have now learned to recognize data we commonly use and its classification as either confidential, sensitive, or public. Next, we will discuss where we house data and who we truly protect from. At Ocean Discovery Institute, we use several software as service providers such as the Razor's Edge, Data Propeller, Paychex, and QuickBooks. Software as a service security is normally outsourced. If you are designated a user, you are to keep your password strong and secure and log off when you are away from your computer. Database administrators may require that you disable password save features on your browser. We protect data from hackers that strive to steal identities or financial information. We also protect our constituents from stalkers, so we never give out data on attendance or a staff's work schedule. As a staff member, you are authorized user of the data, but only for Ocean Discovery Institute business purposes. Know that we have a lot of protections already. The software as a service database are protected. We give access based on authorization levels, and it is your responsibility to keep your passwords strong and secure. Your computer is protected. Always maintain your username and password strong and secure. It is important that you log off when you are away to ensure someone can't walk up and access. Our network called Master Files or POPI is protected. It allows access only to authorized users via secure user accounts. A random computer cannot access the files we maintain there. It is very important that you take physical safeguarding behaviors when you print confidential or sensitive materials. Physical safeguarding means that you keep the documents securely on your person, in locked cabinets, and you securely dispose of it when you are done. Only extremely confidential personal identifying information that lies outside of the software as service system needs to be protected from other Ocean Discovery Institute staff. The IT consultant can place protections on certain folders, such as has been done with payroll and HR folders. At Ocean Discovery Institute, we have a policy guide that you may utilize in the future. The policy guide states that we support the goals of FERPA and implement reasonable methods to protect student educational records as we have reviewed today. We also maintain records on employees and individuals, which we keep accurate, relevant, and safe from improper disclosure. A file can be viewed upon the request of the Executive Director or Director of Talent and Culture. Passwords are an important aspect of the computer security. They are the front line of protection, and a poorly chosen password may result in compromise of Ocean Discovery's entire network. All staff are responsible for taking appropriate steps to select and secure their password. Our policy guide stipulates that our passwords must have a minimum length of 8 characters, not be a dictionary word or proper name, include a number, uppercase, lowercase, and symbol, be the same as the user ID, not be identical to previous 10 passwords, not follow the same password convention. Software as service passwords must be changed at least every 90 days. The database will prompt you to change the password. Passwords must not be inserted into email messages or other forms of electronic communication. Do not share Ocean Discovery passwords with anyone, including administrative assistants or volunteers. If an account or password is suspected to have been compromised, report to the facility manager and change all passwords. Identify your new password by using a personal statement. For example, I graduated a Spartan in 1995. Can be capital I, lowercase g-a, capital S, lowercase I, 1995, exclamation mark. If data security has been breached, if you lose confidential printed materials or a laptop or a phone, you must report the incident to the facilities manager via email or telephone within 24 hours. When necessary, the incident is investigated by the facilities manager in coordination with the IT consultant to determine risks, notification to affected parties, and subsequent courses of action. As a staff member, you are authorized to obtain data, but it must always be protected to the extent required by the law, the policies and practices you have been trained in today. We hope you have found this data privacy training educational. Please remember to review questions or reflections with your supervisor. Thank you and goodbye.